Hello, I'm Felicia Vereen, always known as Fee.
Hey, Fee, and I'm your girl, Sharita Bree, better known as Red.
And we are Inspire Her, the Total Woman podcast, all about uplifting you.
Yes.
Because, friends, face it, you are awesome.
We'll be chatting up about topics we love to talk about. All the things we as women must juggle every day and the ish we complain about.
But who's listening?
Girl,
we'll chat about the struggle, the job, and about him. You know who we talking about.
Girl.
That boo, husband, boyfriend, ex, whatever you calling them today. Our lovely hellions, kids.
Our angels. But seriously, friends, life happens, and we don't always get a chance to talk about it. We take it on the chin and we keep it moving.
Because that's what we were told to do.
Yep.
But here on Inspire Her, the Total Woman podcast with Red and Fee, we are the friends you love to hang out with. We are here to inspire her, the Total Woman.
Yeah.
What's up? Just inviting some folks to come in. I'm just inviting some folks to come in. I know I'm looking down. But this is going to be a good episode for people who like documentaries. I think so.
Okay. I'm excited. We've been having some super guests on.
But I want to talk about one thing first.
What's that?
Something happened this weekend. And I just want to know how you felt about it.
You know, it was an amazing day.
What happened?
So we had the red carpet premiere of Meet the Threats. We had it at the Bird Theater. I mean, the rain sucked. I think that deterred a lot of people from coming, but we still had a great turnout. It was just awesome. I really enjoyed looking at everybody, look at all of the hard work we have been putting into the past few months with getting that out. So yeah, it was good. Everybody was dressed beautifully. It was a nice vibe. Yes, you were cute. Yes, you were cute.
You were beautiful. If y'all get to see any of the pictures on our page, we do have some out there. And your girl Red was doing the daggone thing. She had her face up.
I had a little faux pas with my yeah. Yes, I'll tell you off camera. But yeah, I had a little faux pas. So but it was amazing. It is being shopped, so that's a good thing.
That is.
That's exciting.
Listen, guys, we are on a different night. So no, not Tuesday. We decided to come on Wednesday night at the request of our guest. But what we wanted to do first was to just get on here and just chat it up with you guys and talk about some of the things that we're doing. Red and Dante, her husband, are doing a reality show called Meet the Threats, and they had their red carpet event, and she's being modest. Everything, it was quite a few people. Yes, the rain may have deterred some people, but guess what? It was just enough people, and we enjoyed the premiere, and it was very nice. I totally enjoyed myself, and I'm very proud of the Threats.
Well, thank you. Dante did a lot of behind the scenes work. He did a lot of the filming. He did some of the editing. He did a great job. A lot of the drone footage that you saw, the aerial footage of
Richmond was something.
Yes.
Downtown, I was like, wow.
That's Richmond? Yes. Richmond is a beautiful city.
Wow. Is that Richmond? Or did
that
they go
Richmond
somewhere else?
No, you see the James River. Yeah, that was Richmond.
I think everybody, when that came in, was like, ooh. Audience.
Yeah, we did a good job.
We enjoyed it. And I just wish y'all a lot of luck. And I'm super proud of you.
Thank you.
And don't quite get to do it. you all talked about something you wanted to do, and you did it. You're well on
Yeah.
your way to accomplishing that goal of being
Thank
on
you.
television. So yeah,
Thank you. Yeah, we just stay faithful. We both talked about being faithful and people of God. So as long as we have him in our corner and he has our backs, I think we'll be fine. And
I
of
think
course,
so.
the support of our friends and family. A
I
lot
think
of
so.
people like come up to me, you sure you want to put your business life out there? My thing is, it is what it is. It's life. I don't think that we're going to do anything that's going to embarrass anybody, or that's not the goal anyway. And that's something that we have to work hard to do. That's why we're being careful with choosing people that we have a genuine love for and has a genuine love for us, and that the relationships are already established. So it's a
Right,
good thing
right.
about it.
One of the other
Mm-hmm.
things I want to talk about is inspire her. I think we mentioned this before to you guys. And for those who will be watching this in replay mode, listen, we're trying really, really hard to bring interesting topics to you guys, things that you might not even heard of or even know about. So please share. We know that we're not going to get everybody on live. We want to have more people. So share, tell people about the episodes, tell people about what we're doing so they can come on our lives. But we definitely want you to continue to listen at your convenience and share as well. But we're going to be
Yeah.
on the radio very soon.
Yes.
Things are being worked out. We're going to be on the radio in Mississippi, Louisiana area. We have the opportunity a friend gave us. And he also told us that Tavis Smiley is going to be on the radio on that same radio
Mm-hmm.
station. Look, we
Roland
are very,
Martin.
yeah, he's shopping out for Roland Martin, and we are very, very excited. Look, we said we wanted to do this thing, and I don't care. Like tonight, we got one person on there. We're gonna continue to
And that
do what
might be me.
because we got people that actually love what we're doing, and we get quite a few comments.
Okay. Did you hear the commercial when the Inspire Her commercial came on? We did play the Inspire Her and the Sophisticated Dummies and the Fashion Forte commercials at the premiere. So we got so much love when they saw the Inspire Her.
And they did. They were quiet, and then quiet, sophisticated dummies came on, and some people clapped. But when Inspire Her came on, they were like, "Yeah!" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" I went
Okay.
to go to open your mouth, and somebody else's voice come out. I went to open my mouth. Wait a minute. Okay, they know us.
Yes,
I'm
they
feeling it.
do. They
I was
do. We getting some traction out there. Yes.
I was definitely, definitely proud of that. And
Yes.
once we get on the radio, look, y'all better come and enjoy us now because
Mm-hmm.
don't be saying I knew them when.
Right.
We
Right,
don't
right,
get
right, right.
I'm just saying. Once we get on the radio, we get to doing some other things. It's gonna take off from there, and I feel it because we're bringing relevant topics for women and men.
We are. We are. And this is International Women's Month, Women's
It
History Month.
it definitely is, and we have already had a very dynamic topic. We're going to have a couple more at the end of the month. We're going to
Mm-hmm.
do topics about things that women, not only women, but Black women,
Mm-hmm.
create that we cannot do without. Some of those things
Hey,
I did not know.
right, me either. This is gonna be good. Hey, sister-in-law Sharon, tell us how you felt about the premiere. What you thought about it? You were
Okay.
there. Thank you for coming out to support.
Yes, we are trying to make sure that we highlight women this year, women's history,
Yes.
women empowerment. We're doing it all because, of course, we're women. And we're going to be talking
Thank
about
you.
some women that are not African American, but of course, we're all women and
Women to women.
all deserve
So
love.
Can you give me permission to be messy for a minute?
When do I ever have to give you permission to be messy?
What is the deal with our girl Portia? What
Mm-mm.
is all of this mess going
Girl,
on?
I don't know if Portia has been bamboozled or we're being bamboozled.
I think she's been bamboozled and swindled. If she said that this is no storyline, this is real life. So whatever's happening is happening in real life.
But how
I
does
am
she not
just
know? Like, how do you not? The man has done it before. Like Fallon was like, if you want to go ahead, go ahead. And she kept her lips tightly shut. She didn't tell Portia nothing, obviously. Either that or
no.
she didn't want to hear it.
But why is it coming out now? I mean, Portia, of course, is a lot bigger star than Fallon, but why now? That's just, I mean, she gotta have some mud on her face, and everybody's gonna be like, "That's your karma. That's your karma. You took that woman's husband. That's your karma." I feel bad for her and PJ. She has a daughter, and I can't see her as much as she loves her daughter. I can't see her putting her daughter in that situation, introduce her to a man and him being another father only for that to happen. So I don't think it's for she playing in our face. She wouldn't do that to her daughter.
I hope
And if
not.
she does, if that's the case, then that's really sick. But I
But
don't think she
you married a man that you really did not know, and you put your
all this
daughter.
is allegedly.
She married a man that she really did. I mean, it's hard to get to know somebody in that little bit of time that they was together.
I agree. I married my husband 3 months after knowing him. So yeah, I get it. It
Yeah,
happens. It can happen, but I guess
your husband wasn't a
yeah,
swindler though.
yeah,
The
yeah.
issues that all had you could deal with your husband, and then somebody allegedly said that he had spent some of her money.
Mm. I
Yeah,
heard that. Then I heard that she may have been the one that called the feds on him. So it's just messy. I'm just gonna pray for her. I still love her. She's still my favorite housewife, and I'm just gonna pray for her.
but it's a good storyline. I will tell you that.
It's definitely a good storyline.
And I'm wondering
Mm-mm.
if that is the reason why she's coming back because she found out about him and now she need her money back.
Maybe so, but she announced she was coming back prior to that.
That's what I'm saying. Was she already figuring out? Did she already know what her game plan was going to be? But he's out there looking like I don't know. He just trying to
He
show
doing,
that whoa.
yes, he's definitely saving face, and they said that he's moved on already with
They
some
say she
chick he's
has
dealing with.
too.
I ain't
With
hear that she has with
allegedly.
another African.
Everything we're saying is allegedly.
Alleged.
I don't know her business. So it's all coming from the internet waves.
Well, here comes one of our guests, and we got to stop the messiness, huh? Hi,
Oh,
Miss
Hello.
Jessica. And Jessica, we are live.
Great.
we
Okay, so welcome.
we are
Put
welcoming
on
you.
lipstick.
Just a smidgen.
I could go
we
get
are.
it.
I am Felicia, better known as Fee.
And I'm Sharita, better known as Red, and we are Inspire Her. That's part of our intro. I'm just teasing.
We
I
are
believe it.
we are Inspire Her and tell us who you are.
My name is Jessica Anthony. I am a producer and of documentary films, and I produce the film In the Bones. I actually have the poster right
I
behind
see
me.
it back there.
Nice.
I see it. So
Yes.
are we doing the interview with you or is
Kelly's coming.
coming? Okay. All right.
Yes.
Well,
Well, I
I
love this, so I can't wait to chat about it a bit. And you are in California, correct?
Yes, I am in California, which is currently very sunny and mild.
Mm,
And yeah, I'm in Northern California.
okay.
cool things. Okay.
I absolutely love documentary. I did. It made me cry. Like I was saying.
Aw.
It made me cry. It made me mad. It made me proud. And I was confused for a minute at why people, we'll talk about it, but just confused as to why people don't want to help do what they need to do.
Yeah.
I'm just baffled sometimes.
So that
Do
means
you
it
two
did
watch a
what it
lot
was
of?
supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
Right.
Well, it's we can talk more about it when Kelly gets here, but it's definitely a different format and there's reasons for that. But do you two watch a lot of documentary films?
I do.
I do. Mm-hmm.
I mean, because to me, I watch television shows and reality, but documentaries give you the true story of different areas that you wouldn't know anything about. Now, I don't know anything about that area, but your
Mm-mm.
documentary helped me understand. I mean, I knew it was a impoverished area, but just to get some insight into actual people who live there. On the news, they talk about areas like that, but to hear it from people who actually live there is another thing.
It's yeah, it's almost like it's a third world country type vibe. It was very disheartening to see that, especially in 2023. It was made in 2023, correct? Or
We were
2022?
we started filming in 2017 and we filmed
Hmm.
through 2020.
Okay. Even
Yeah.
still.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it
even
was
still,
very
I mean,
disheartening to see. Yep.
yeah, you
Well,
could
now the
say
gang's
just
all here.
Hey, Miss
now we're all
Kelly,
here.
I'm Sharita.
Hi, it's nice to see
Yeah,
you both.
And I
yeah,
was
we were just talking about the documentary and the time that it was filmed. I'm sorry, go ahead, Fee.
I was telling the audience before we're on a different night, so a lot of people watch our podcast in replay mode. So we are was just telling them about what we're going to do tonight. So now that we have everybody on, this is our special guest. We are very happy that Malcolm is
Yes.
back with you guys. It is it's very important to tell these types of stories. So one thing I want to definitely say is that we appreciate you for telling the story, making people
Yes.
aware of what's going on. Um, Kelly, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Kelly Duane de la Vega, and I am a documentary film director, and I directed In the Bones.
Okay. All right. So
Mhm.
this is the one thing I'm super excited that I finally figured out how to upload the trailer. So I want to play the trailer first and then come back and talk about it. Is that okay with everybody?
That's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's show this trailer.
I can be the man and make all the money. She can be at the house, take care of the children.
The whole culture is set up to minimize the potential of women.
Mississippi will be the first state in the nation to stop abortions at 15 weeks.
Mississippi, we have the highest percent of women in poverty. Every one of our women deserve equal pay for equal work.
Policy created from the founding of this country really did not bring equity to our communities.
It's pageant day. It's pageant day.
Well, I only do the pageants for girls to get scholarships.
A boy grows up, he gonna know how to be a man, but that girl trying to teach her how to take care of yourself and watch yourself. I want my kids to be not like me, but better than me.
My dad, whether it was gambling, drinking, drugs, women.
My mom, everything that she went through is almost identical to my marriage.
I'm special, talented, and I am strong.
You're pretty good. I like that.
I don't want to be like poor and on drugs. I want to be nice to my kids and not be my wife.
Republican women of Jackson County. So good to see you all.
I'm trying to build relationships with the Republican redcoat women, but they don't want to push back against their party.
Republicans do not want to be involved in people's personal lives.
What does that even mean?
I had a hard time understanding that myself.
I'm a tomboy. I ain't afraid of nothing.
They say no choice, we say pro-choice.
Is it a boy or a girl?
It's a girl!
I definitely want the American dream for them.
Go to college, meet the perfect boy, stay in church, you know, the American dream.
Wow. Roller coaster of emotions.
After that. Especially when you actually look at the documentary, and it, for those who would want to see the documentary, it is on Amazon Prime, and I watched it, and the trailer is just a snippet of everything that's going on there. One of the things that I want to bring to people's attention is when the lady at the part of the red coat said, Republicans don't want to be in people's business. How in the world can you say that?
Yeah, you're telling us what to do with our bodies.
Right. I mean, that's the ultimate ironic statement. And, you know, in the trailer, you can't tell, but in the film, that group of women were trying to push their Republican male counterparts to pass an equal pay bill. Mm-hmm. And they said, oh, you know, ladies, we don't want to get into people's business. And in the same moment, they passed the 15-week abortion bill, which like nothing could be more in your business than that.
Yes, all up in your business.
That's the part I said I was confused.
Yes, yes.
We were all confused.
And it's like a group of men making a decision about women. I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah. They seem very disconnected from their female counterparts. I mean, we found it really interesting that a lot of the redcoat women publicly were very supportive of the abortion ban bill and privately were very pro-choice, and that it was something that we were surprised to encounter. Nobody went on the record, but you know, there was this sense, like this deep understanding that this is not by everybody, but you know, by a handful of people we did speak to, like this is a woman's decision. A group of men shouldn't be making that for the entire population.
Exactly.
Is there a reason why? I mean, I know maybe in that area that, is there a reason why women didn't want to speak up against their black?
I mean,
they don't want to lose their seats.
Yeah, I
power.
What I came to, and of course I can't, you know, I'm just guessing, but it felt like for some of the people that we became close to, it's you know, the Republican identity is their identity, and so, you know, there are things that they don't agree with that maybe don't serve them. That's like who they're having tea with. That's who they're garden. That's, I don't, and Jessica, feel free to challenge me on this, but sometimes I felt like there was this sense that like behind closed doors, there were certain feelings, but to voice that, you're not just voicing a different opinion, you may lose your community. And that
exactly. It's power, it's control, it's being shunned or being, you know, cast out if they say anything publicly.
But
I was just going to add a couple. Sorry, I was just going to jump in and add a couple conversations that really stood out. And one was some people were upfront about it and some weren't. But the Republicans are the ones that hold power in the state of Mississippi. So if you want to affect any if you want to pass legislation, if you want to hold any power, you basically have to play along with the Republicans. But the other thing, in other communities, some of the conversations we had were for conservative women who are not in positions of power, and they are thinking about how to, what is the conservative agenda? And that is something that they've always believed in and, lived by, that sometimes when they question that, they actually have said, they said to us, it feels like the devil's talking. And it makes them second guess themselves because they said, I wonder sometimes if maybe it's not right, but then I think maybe that's just the devil talking. And when we brought that up with women who were more in positions of power, they actually talked about that is a conversation that is had. And it just, I think it's just another layer, and certainly in Mississippi where religion and the law are so intertwined.
Ready to say,
Yeah.
I understand that, being raised in church. I mean, my whole life was church. So I understand that has been a question before for me, that abortion can't just be the answer for everything, but you get into the part where it may not have been a consensual thing, and you're taking that right away from that woman as well. And that's
Right.
now, if you're just going around and that's, your method of protection against you having a child, and that's one thing. But if you were raped or had something, like that happen to you, you shouldn't be forced to
Right.
Sure.
have someone's child. So that's when I was just very, very confused. And I do understand that in that area, women kind of stay in their place and are I
But
guess
you have
that's
married, you have married couples that decide to terminate pregnancies because of financial reasons, not ready. We just had a child. Once we have a child, we're very fertile. So sometimes it's done what's best for the family, and the couple makes that decision together. So, and then these other women that they may feel one way behind doors, they still have to go home to these men who are the ones that's making the decision. So they can't go against their spouses as well. So it's a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then obviously there are women who feel strongly that they don't believe in the pro-choice option, and so for them it's easier. I just think there's more conflict than what you see, and I think in the recent votes, and there are certain conservative states that have added abortion protections to their constitution after the dismantling of Roe. And I think that indicates what women are thinking when people aren't watching, when the privacy of their vote. It's been almost every vote has supported abortion rights. So we'll see. It's interesting.
Yes, the other thing that baffled me is one of the women was sending her kids to school, and it stated that the kids they were rats and roaches in the school, and sometimes they didn't have running water. Like, how is that possible in the USA in the 21st century? That is crazy. It's like a third world country.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, even when we were in the state capitol, a few times they had no running water. It's pretty. I just think if you don't take care of your infrastructure, there's really serious consequences. But it is devastating, and there is a mentality that I heard again and again, which sort of shocked me, that sort of saw public schools as almost like a form of welfare versus like we're all investing in each other, in we're investing in the minds of, tomorrow. So it was a different mentality. We're in the state of California right now, and I've never heard anybody talk about public school education paying tax. They have a joke in our town that there's never been a school tax we haven't voted for, because there's a sense that's like the heartbeat of our community. But obviously, it's different in every community. So I don't know if you want to add anything, Jess.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to add that there's certainly in the South, and actually it is also here as well, but the academies and the private school systems that pull resources away from the public schools. And that's certainly a situation, especially where we were filming in Mississippi, where you had a huge income disparity, and you had a lot of the lower income families in the public school systems. Those were also a lot of the kids of color. And you have most of the, wealthier families pulling resources into the academies. It's similar to San Francisco. It's similar to New York City. It's just that the stakes are a lot higher in a state where you already have a lot going against you in terms of the resources that you have at your fingertips and the social systems that you can rely on.
It seemed like it was the have and the have-nots.
Yeah,
like the kids.
Sorry, I've interrupted you. I was just going to say that in Mississippi, even the lower income white kids would go to these Christian academies. It's a form of segregation, frankly. And that's not uncommon there. It's not all just, it's less like in, places like San Francisco, it's really the haves and the have-nots. And there, it's not like that's part of it, but there's also, unfortunately, seemingly a racial component as well.
Definitely with the little Caucasian kids talking about slavery. That blew me.
Yeah.
When they rescued them because they were really poor over there, and they gave them a better life, and not all slave owners were bad. I'm like, who's teaching these kids?
Somebody that wants to continue to have that mentality.
Well, one of the reasons we put that in the film was because it really illustrated like multiple generations are being taught this. And so how do we stop or try to disrupt white supremacy or, the continuation of this sort of white biased education system? And, but we had to put it in so you could bear witness. These kids are sweet kids. That's what
and they were just so clueless. They seemed like they were good kids. It's like, this is what they're teaching the kids. And I think one of the African American woman, or Black woman, she was like, there's so much prejudice, but they stay in their lane and we stay in ours. So, but they know that it's prejudice, but we don't bother them and they don't bother us, kind of thing.
Yeah. That was a really powerful line.
I do like that you all put the children in the documentary so that we could see who they were, like the little Black girl who, you saw her mom, and her mom said that she wanted her to have a much better life than she did. You can see that people are trying no matter what they're left with. And it's sad when you see families that, and I hate to say this, but like the lady who already, we already know that she's impoverished. And I'm gonna say this, but I understand, but some of it I don't. But you're already impoverished and you keep having children. You're happy about it, but can you really take care of these children? And sometimes you just want to say, hey, take a minute, get yourself together, and be able to take care of these children, because we all know that if you can't, you'll be on the system.
Right.
And her
mom wasn't happy.
Very, very sad. that the generational, it's just gonna keep happening, you know. So they're learning what they're teaching them through history about slavery, but they're also teaching on this end, you know, have as many kids as you want, whether you can take care of them.
Right.
And
But
that's
it keeps
right.
the population going. It keeps the population.
I don't know if
And
that's what they're trying to
now,
do.
but
They
I was told that at some point the white people will become a minority because the colored people will take over, and I mean color like black, Hispanics, and all that. So that's part of it too, to ban the abortion or those rights because they want to keep the population. You guys never heard
Yeah,
that?
I've heard that argument. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard it before. But let me get to some of the questions. Now, we're talking about this. Well, what inspired you to want to do this type of documentary?
Well, after the 2016 presidential election, at least for me, I realized I had made quite a few documentaries, but none of them really focused on women. That's not true for Jess. She's had a long history of making films about issues focused on gender. We wanted to work together. We'd done some short films together looking at voting rights, and we enjoyed our collaboration. So we started to look for stories that had women's sort of issues at the center. And I read, or one of us read, a article in the Clarion Ledger, I think, and it was an article about Lynn Fitch, the then Secretary Treasurer of Mississippi, teaming up with Cassandra Welchin, who is a African American activist, and trying to pass an equal pay bill. And it seemed interesting and intriguing to us that Lynn Fitch, who ran Mississippi Women from Trump, and Cassandra Welchin were going to team up, and maybe this was going to be a story about intersectional feminism where you least expect it. And so that's what got us there. And both Lynn and Cassandra welcomed us to the state of Mississippi. My family had, my parents had lived in Jackson. I was somewhat familiar with the state. I thought it was an interesting place to work on a film and a project to better understand our country, just to tell another story. Mississippi women aren't that well represented in mainstream media. So that was our first inclination to go there. Jess, is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, I was just going to add that we had through both of our work, we had really good connections there too. I was connected with the former executive director of the Women's Foundation in the state of Mississippi, and she ended up, connecting us to a lot of people. And I think anytime you're surveying the potential of a project, those relationships are really meaningful, and your connection to a place is meaningful, and just how those conversations go and the willingness and all those things just kind of came together.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, I was going to say, that said, and maybe this gets to your next question, but that only gets you so far. We spent like about a year just traveling there, talking to people, meeting with everyone, driving up and down the state. And gosh, my list of contacts there is in the hundreds, and everyone seemed to be about a degree away from everyone else. So that was just an incredible year of developing this story and meeting with people.
Okay. So were the women reluctant to participate, or did you have more than what you needed and had to choose, or it was like, phew, we lucky we got these few?
Kelly, you can answer that.
You're on a delay, so I can never tell if I'm about to talk over you or not. We people were really open to talking to us. We didn't at first talk to people with cameras. We talked to them just like, hey, can we meet for sweet tea or, you know, drink or whatever. And then we got to know people and we were able to build a relationship. And then when we approached them, I don't think anybody told us no that I can think of. Sometimes they told us they were sick of us, you know, like or we couldn't film like every single bit of their lives, like get out of my bedroom. But in general, you know, people really welcomed us in. And as Jessica alluded to, we did a lot of heavy work on the ground. We worked with a lot of people from the regions. And so we were able to, I don't know, like really develop deep relationships. We're still close with our characters. We're still texting with them and on a daily basis sometimes. And what we did promise is that we don't do gotcha journalism. Like your interviews will be used in context. What you say will present like your point of view as you say it, and we'll respect you. Like we walk with respect to the people we interface with, and I think that we were able to show that in the film, even if we personally may have different feelings than certain people. We didn't, you know, we didn't seek to represent anybody unfairly.
Right. And you know, you don't want to offend anyone, so yeah.
Well, I'm not worried about offending people, but I want to be honest or truthful. You know what I mean? Like I want to represent their point of view.
Anybody.
Right.
Right.
Well, because in this kind of documentary, you may not mean to offend people, but when you're trying to tell the truth, it ends up being what it is.
Yeah, you do offend people. I think. I hear somebody's got a good radio station in the background.
I know. I'm like,
game on.
Sound like a game, a party over there. But so were there any significant challenges you faced in gathering footage? Like, did you did anybody just adamantly not want to be bothered, or?
Two things spring to mind. One is silly to say, but the heat.
I live in Georgia. I live in Savannah, Georgia, so I know. I know.
We were filming in the state capitol and did have a couple Republican legislators try to intimidate us, and that was, you know, we were working within the ethics of our field, and we had to remind him of that. But you know, they weren't used to seeing women there interviewing people with their cameras, and also I don't think we're used to women who well, I'm sure they are. I don't want to make an assumption, but that conversation was terse, and that's one of the things I can.
A feeling of like assault if you had a follow-up question. That's what I felt with the men more than anybody else, you know, like how dare you ask a follow-up question. But you know, I don't know if that's a gender thing or a personality thing, but that did happen with some of the lawmakers.
That's weird. I mean, you know, I guess because you really you're unraveling the truth down there. You know, they may be hiding behind, oh, we're just trying to do the best for people, and you're kind of letting that be known that that's not quite true.
So. Right. Or I think so many people are really detached from ideology and laws and how that plays out on the ground. And you can be with people who think, I mean, I think this is true across the aisles. You can be with people who think exactly like you, and you can push an agenda and never bother to know how those laws affect the everyday lives of people. And you want to keep it that way. You don't really want to interface with that. And with the film, you know, we have two characters that are involved with policy, Cassandra Welchon and Lynn Fitch, and you see them as sort of part of the architecture of the system. But we also have the characters that are trying to navigate their daily lives through the system. And you can see the harm it can do if it's not all sort of understood. And I think particularly some of the male legislators seem so deeply out of touch with what many of the women we spoke to in the state were grappling with.
Did you get a feeling that they didn't really care? You know?
Some of them. Yeah, some more than others.
And it's sad. And then one thing that I can definitely say about I'm from Richmond, Virginia. We're both from Richmond, Virginia, which is the beginning of the South. So you get some of the same stuff there. But then I moved to Savannah, Georgia, and it's a little bit more prevalent and in your face, really. And I had to get. I mean, it's not as bad as Mississippi by no means, but I had to get used to it. When I first moved here, I was considered aggressive because I was a woman out here working, and I had a position where I was someone's boss, and males don't take too well to women telling them what to do. And so I had to be, I had a guy tell me one day I need to check myself when I come to speak to them about something that they're doing incorrectly. And I wasn't used to that because I was always used to being treated the same way, and I didn't change, but I felt like at one point that my job would be affected if I didn't learn how to check myself.
Wow, that sounds, not uncommon, but kind of painful in the deeper way, right?
It was. It was because I had to, like I said, I didn't change how I talk to people because if you're wrong, you're wrong, and it ultimately is going to affect me. But I had to think about how to go to people that males, how to. Some of them were okay, but this particular one, I had to understand how to approach him because at the end of the day, when we had the conversation with my director, I was told that I needed to find a better way to approach him versus me being correct in what I was doing. So
versus maybe him having to adjust.
Right. Exactly. I had to adjust.
You had to.
Yeah.
Did you guys have any challenges with COVID, or were you pretty much done with filming?
Good question. We didn't know we were done, so we were planning on continuing to shoot, and Mississippi had a pretty bad initial outbreak, and then it just got, so we had to stop. And when you look at our characters, particularly the kids, they look like completely different people 2 years later. So we had to move forward with the edit. It did force us to work with what we had already shot. I think we had enough obviously I think that, or I went to finish the film, but I think we probably would have filmed longer, and maybe the film would have had a slightly different shape had COVID not happened, but we had enough in the can that we believe we could tell a meaningful story. And so we moved forward with the edit.
And a meaningful story you did tell. Looking back at the project, is there anything you wish you had brought into the documentary? Any experiences that you wish you had delved into while you were there?
In some ways, so many, right, Jess? And in other ways, I felt like we put in as much as we could possibly put in. I don't know, Jess, how you feel about that.
Yeah, it's a tough It's a really tough question. I can't think of anything that I wish was included in the film that we made. And I also, sort of building off what Kelly just said, I also think there were probably a lot of little stories that we could have told along the way that would have just done justice to the journey of making the film, and also just all the people that we met who didn't make it into the film, who had also, really important stories.
Really beautiful people we met, all along the way. And people surprised us again and again. It's like so many stereotypes about the South or about Mississippi. And I think every stereotype we could concoct was flipped on its head and challenged. And, and I wish we were able to show more of that in some ways.
Yeah. We had this great, just to be specific, we had a great conversation with a group of young high school women in Gulfport, Mississippi. I think it was Gulfport High, if I remember it correctly. And gosh, we had like an hour and a half conversation, and this was young women from, they came from all different backgrounds. Some of them were cheerleaders, some of them were poets, some of them, they really ran the gamut. And I remember at one point Kelly asked, "Do you consider yourself a feminist?" And there was this sort of palpable like silence, and then some of the women were like, "Yes, absolutely," and some of the women were like, "Absolutely not," and some want to answer. And it was a really, what came after was sort of a series of questions like, well, do you think women should get paid equally to men? And all of them said yes. Do you think
of course
women should, it's like we went through this series of questions, and in the course of the conversation, they were all on the same page. There were varying degrees, but they were like, oh yeah, I guess we're feminists. And just to take that dirty word, and demystify it for them. In that conversation, they taught us a lot, and I think also they took something away that was valuable.
I think the word feminist, when you're talking, it's like you said, it's a dirty word, and people still think that way to this day. But there's nothing wrong with being for women. We have to
equal rights.
In equal rights, and you have to be your own superhero nowadays. It's like, because there's no one that's going to stand up for you, because I tend to think that, or see that, a lot of people are for themselves.
Yeah.
Here, you get yours the way I got mine. But
yeah.
I don't want to be like that. I want to make sure that women, my daughter, I have an 18-year-old daughter in college. I want to make sure that she doesn't have to deal with the things that I'm dealing with.
Exactly. I have an 18-year-old daughter in college as well, and
did it.
But to Jessica's point and to your point, I do think that there are pockets where the word feminist isn't a dirty word. And then there are pockets where it's like, oh my God, feminist, And so what we found with that roundtable discussion, which was totally incredible, is we all felt the same way about rights women should have. What we didn't share is the comfort level with that word. And for us, that was really interesting. Like, I have no problem saying I'm a feminist. And the way I understand a feminist is you believe you should have equal rights to men. That's right. Not complicated. I love men. I'm married. I have a son. Like, I love my dad. It has nothing, but we were talking with a group of men in a small town near Clarksdale in a cafe, and they just thought, oh my God, you're a feminist. They had all these assumptions about what that word meant. And we were like, no, we love our sons. We're married. Like, this is about just thinking we believe equal rights. And so it is how that word has been manipulated to divide us.
Yes, absolutely.
Have you noticed that is different in the North versus in the South.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And it's sort of similar to the term pro-choice. I mean, in some pockets, pro-choice means we all want to do, we're all okay aborting babies up until, they're to term, up until 10 months pregnant. Like, and you think like that's insane. And when you actually have the conversation and you say, no, being pro-choice means that if your faith prevents you from that being a choice and you don't believe in that, that's your choice. And if my belief, like, and then they go like, oh yeah, I guess I'm pro-choice. So it's just those conversations, like us being pro-choice, we're not insane. We're not like trying to do horrifying things.
We don't
It's
want to kill our
again just
babies. We have babies too. We love.
Right.
yeah, we love
Right.
babies. We love unborn babies. We just
Right.
have different, like there are all these, so just all of those terms have been so weaponized that there's no longer a way to have conversations around them.
And if you divide women, we're not as strong. We can't stand up for each other if we weaponize words that make us come together.
Come on through, feminists. No, just kidding.
I wanted to ask this question. Now that the documentary is over, maybe when you all saw it for the first time, what part of the documentary made you smile and made you proud and made you say, this is why we did this? This is why we wanted to put this documentary out.
That's a good question.
It is a good question. What's interesting is like we've shown this film in Atlanta, in New Orleans, we've showed it in San Francisco, we've showed it in Paris, and we've showed it in Jackson, Mississippi. It's also been shown in Dubai and other places around the world. But the audience response is so different depending on where you are. And I'm just, no matter what film I make, it doesn't matter. I'm always nervous when the film starts. And then by the end of the film, I'm happy. But usually the first 10 minutes of any film, I'm like, this is a disaster. And by the end, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so proud. I love the scene where Pam on horseback is riding. And
She just said that.
My land. And I think particularly in San Francisco, it's so, and just for your listeners who haven't seen the movie, she's a Black woman and she's riding, she's beautiful on this horse, and she's talking about, this is my land, and this is, and this is home. And in San Francisco and in certain places, people don't understand that sentiment could come out of a Black woman in an empowered and beautiful way. And when they see that, it forces them to rethink about their own stereotypes and their own sort of assumptions. And so to me, that, and then Bree with the heart, I'm like, I'm not afraid. Like those two moments for me always make me feel proud of the work, because I think it pushes people to grow. I don't know about you, Jess, what stands out?
Well, I agree with both of those, and just the self-reliance. I mean, I think on a more somber note, one of the places where I always get teary is when one of the young boys in the Gulf is talking about, I don't want to grow up and beat my wife. I don't want to, just like this desperation to not be in a cycle, to know at that age that he's in a cycle, and to really put that mindfulness to it is something that I think my emotion around it is mixed. One is that the men I know that have grown up with that, when they see it and claim it and put a stake in the ground that they don't want to be like that, that they end up being different. And that is a beautiful thing. And also just that he has that experience and that awareness is also a heartbreaking thing. So it's a big moment. And also having been there when it was being filmed, he had also just been yelled at. So he was, I really felt for him in that moment. But that's an emotional scene for me.
I was telling Ray, excuse me, before we came on, that the scene I liked the most was with her on the horseback, and she was riding past her daughter,
Mm-hmm.
watching her ride off. That to me, and my family is from Savannah, Georgia, which is deep woods here in Georgia. And I know how important it is for them to own land, for them to, be able to do their own thing and not have to depend on renting somebody's house or, depend on somebody else to rent their land. It's theirs, the sense of entitlement. So that right there, that when I say I was telling Jessica before you came on that I was upset. I almost cried. I was
Mm-hmm.
confused and I was happy. That was my happy moment when I saw that. I was like, this is what it should be. We were also talking that some people don't know that they're poor. Some people don't know, but some
Mm-hmm.
people are happy with where they are. And they had their land, they had their family, they
Mm-hmm.
had their horses, and they may not be rich, but they're wealthy within themselves, their family. And the little girl looked like she was happy as well. Even though she was a
Yeah.
tomboy, like she could beat up some little boys, but
Yeah, definitely.
That sound like Fee. One of my favorite scenes. Yeah, sounds like Fee beat up the little boys. I was telling Fee that one of my favorite scenes was when the three little girls, like the little African American black girls, were just kind of talking, and they were just talking about that day and who liked who and who said this. I just thought that was the cutest thing, and that took me back to, like I was telling Fee, I remember that sitting on the ground with the little chalk and hopscotch talking about boys.
Me
I
too.
just thought that was so cute and so genuine.
I
So that
love
was
that.
probably
She's
one
like,
of my
oh,
favorite
I
scenes.
like Marcus. She's
Yes.
and
That was
listen,
cute.
it's not always. I tell people all the time, listen, you may see a person's life and you may think that, oh my God, they're poor and they don't have anything. But that's not the case always. You know,
Mm-hmm.
people are rich in family, are rich in their beliefs, um, and they might not have as much as you do, but they're okay. And they're okay with
Right.
being. And generationally, they have taken care of each other. It's when you pass on the bad traditions
yeah.
um, of of little boys seeing their moms get beaten, or
Mm.
men, not pulling their weight, or women not being paid equally, those types of things. So I appreciate you guys bringing attention to it
Mm-hmm.
on both sides.
Absolutely.
On both
Thank
sides.
you guys for having us and taking time to watch the film and spread the word about the film.
Yeah, we
Absolutely.
Watch it too.
continue to do that. And we would also commend you because I was looking behind the scenes and I saw, it's of course, March is Women's History and Women's Empowerment Month. And I saw that you all have a female led team. The
Yes.
whole team.
Wow.
I was like, wow, this is definitely something. You guys are doing it. What
Girl
do you
power.
do next? What can you tell us what you're gonna do next, or is that a secret?
We can tell you, sort of. I'm finishing up a film that is super different. It's about plant medicine treating PTSD and CTE among special warfare veterans in the US.
Mhm.
So it's a very, very different topic, and it is finishing up this year, and it'll be out by 2025.
I'm very interested in that because I have an uncle that has very bad PTSD, and he was in the war. Um,
Mm.
he's it's bad. It's bad. And the
I'm
only
so sorry to hear that.
he's and he I don't know if I can say this. I probably shouldn't be telling his business, but I would love to see that.
Yeah,
Me
and
too.
you're welcome to offline with me anytime. I've spent the last couple years really researching this stuff. So if
Okay.
there's anything I can do to be helpful.
She's an expert. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Right.
should definitely take her up on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about you, Miss Callie?
Well, for your listeners, I did a film on Netflix called The Two Killings of Sam Cooke that you can watch. I did that around the same time we did this film. And I am working with Jessica again, I'm thrilled to say, on a new project that is different as well. It's more of an investigative thriller following a group of journalists in the state of Florida as they uncover a corporate scandal involving election interference and climate change. It's very cloak and dagger.
Okay.
It'll be a good one, so we'll come back on.
Yes, I definitely want to see that. I need to see. I love Sam Cooke.
If you love Sam
Oh,
Cooke,
it's such a good film.
it's so.
Immediately.
I made it, but I loved spending time in his world. I love his music. I love what he stood for. So I got to talk to Smokey Robinson and Quincy Jones, and it was
Yeah, the
pretty
scandal. Yeah, and then that huge scandal he had. So I definitely want to see that. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I will definitely have to tell Malcolm that we were able, because he sent us a message today. Have you been able to do the interview yet? I'm like, we're doing it tonight. He stays on us. So definitely have to.
Thank you, Malcolm.
Well, we're so grateful to you both. This was really fun. And also just to out there, the film is actually available on Apple TV as well.
Okay.
Well, iTunes and Amazon. Yeah.
Okay.
So watch it and send us an email and tell us what you think. Good, bad.
Yeah.
For those of you who will be watching this in the replay, this documentary, this film was awesome. Like I said, I went through a range of emotions, and at the end, I pulled it all together and I understood. I was able to just simply from living here in Savannah, where we go through some of that as well, and just to be able to sit there and see that things haven't quite changed yet. We would think that we're so further along, but it's just we just got more work to do.
We
So,
do. We collectively all have more work to do.
Yes.
Well, you
Now I tried to get past the deer. I tried to get past the deer and the deer meat, putting it in the bag. I'm like,
that was yeah.
That was a funny thing, and I have to bump off soon, but I'll tell you a funny story. We wanted to hire local crew, right, to put money into Mississippi and respect Mississippi. And so we hired a sound guy from that area, like from Pam's general area. And he, unbeknownst to us, was like a vegetarian. And so while they're like cutting the thing, he couldn't do the sound. He had to go throw up in the other room. I was like,
oh my God.
I was like, oh my goodness. Scraping that poor deer and then turning into meat. The little girl put it in Ziploc bags. I'm like, oh my goodness.
I grew up with hunters, so it didn't freak me out. But it did, and some people like discouraged us from having that in the film, and I was like, no, this is a way to survive. If you're living in a system that is not built for you, they're self-empowering by figuring out how to survive and thrive when their government is not taking care of them. And I think that that's an important thing to keep in there.
But that opens people as well. I mean, sometimes you have to come out of your little world and see what's really going on around you, so that when you see a documentary like this, you'll be more willing to go and vote, make your voice heard.
Definitely.
Speak up, go talk to your councilman. Go talk to your mayor. I just think that this documentary can help a lot of people see what's really going on, and maybe have people want to, I say sponsor, but help the school systems down.
Yes, amen.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And for all of us too, I mean, certainly the women and the activists who are not in the South, to support the work of the women and the activists in the South is one of the things that we
Yes.
really hope people take away from our film and our work.
Definitely.
Definitely. So, like I said, I appreciate you. I applaud you.
Thank you so much. It was an honor to spend time with you.
Yeah.
Yes, you too.
When you finish, contact you, and you come back and talk to us about your other ones. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
All right.
They did
Well,
some
that
good
was
work.
good. They did. I really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it as well, and I'm gonna actually have some see if we can do like a show the documentary in a group setting, some of the people down here. So yeah. Well, guys, listen, join us on Tuesday next week, back to our regular time. I had people text me saying, are you not doing are you not doing the podcast? I'm like, we're on. Be able to watch this in replay, but we will be back next Tuesday, and we will be talking about all things women, all things female, inventors, women of history. You're gonna get enough of us this month.
All about the women.
All about
the XY chromosome. All right, well, it's time to say good night. I'll be y'all. Good night.
We are here to inspire her, the total woman.
Yeah.